here's the thing. Concentration fatigue is a real thing. It does happen, it does exist. And not a lot of people realize that it's actually a big thing for those who are deaf. And you might not even realize it yourself. You might be hearing yourself and you didn't see it because obviously you couldn't see in other people. But you might be deaf yourself and you might have just realized that, wait a second, I am tired, I am exhausted, I have got a fatigue because of certain activity that might have been made more difficult because you're deaf. That's the thing with concentration fatigue, is that it's not obvious and it's not something that you can see. And that's not anybody's fault. It's just one of these things where, is it an invisible illness to invisible disability kind of thing? I don't know. It's maybe none of them, but it is a real thing. And as someone who has experienced it and will probably always experience it for the rest of his life, I can tell you that it sucks. Having concentration fatigue does suck. But here's the thing. What is it? What is concentration fatigue? What are the side effects? How does it affect people? And how can we deal with it? And how can we make it easy for ourselves to manage it and deal with it? Because it will be here to stay. So let me explain how I can help you with that in this video. So what is concentration fatigue? Well, this is when a person finds it very hard to concentrate or is suddenly tired from concentrating because your brain's inhibitory mechanism is working extra hard. So what does that have to do with deaf people and how do they get concentration fatigue? Well, if you think about it, the average deaf and hard of hearing person uses a number of different things to be able to understand what that person is saying if that person is speaking orally. And that could include things like you listen extra hard, you're looking at the lips to lip read, you are looking at the body language, and you're looking at the way things move and the tone of the voice. All these different things that we need to do to be able to interpret what that person is saying. The thing is though, if you keep doing that for a long time, and if you keep focusing and concentrating so hard, then obviously you will get tired eventually from doing that. Therefore, you get concentration fatigue. There are so many people who go through bouts of concentration fatigues and they have their own way of describing what it feels like. But one person who said it very well is Ian Noon. He wrote it on a blog post. You can check it out in the description below. And he said that having the concentration fatigue is like doing the jigsaw and Scrabble and Sudoku at the same time. So there are so many things happening at the same time and you get focusing on multiple things and then you get exhausted. To make it more relatable for those who are hearing, the best way I can describe it is if you have ever had the chance to learn a new language, you know that situation where you're learning and you learn to speak, you learn to write all these things, and then to listen to other people who are speaking that language you're learning, you have to kind of focus extra hard, don't you? You are listening intently to be able to pick up some words here and there so that you are able to understand what that person is saying. That's one of the best way of describing what a concentration fatigue is like if you are hearing yourself. And the reason why it's important for you to understand what it's like, because maybe one day, maybe all the time, maybe you have around you different people who are deaf or hard of hearing and they will maybe be so exhausted and you won't know why. Here's a chance for you to learn from this video why that is, and I want to go over some of the side effects of what could happen when a person is really suffering from concentration fatigue. A person might feel like having a nap because obviously you're tired. You might get headaches that comes and goes and comes and goes. Because you appear tired all the time, people will just assume that you don't sleep enough. You may zone out in your own world just so that you don't have to focus on anything, just for a brief moment. And because of that, people will also assume that you are being lazy or selfish or rude. You may just miss out on important information. It could be at school, at university, at a job, even in a general conversation. Maybe there's a serious conversation happening. You may miss out on information. FOMO is the big one, fear of missing out, because you want to be involved, you work so hard, you're pushing yourself, and you want to be going out with your friends, social events, but you will miss out on things anyway, but you do it, you go out, you just want to get involved with your social life. So how do you deal with it? Or how do you help that person with concentration fatigue deal with it? There are so many things that you can do, but it's about finding what works for you, because I can give you a list of things and I will do that in just a second, but maybe it won't work for you. But it's up to you to find out what does work for you. There are obvious things like, for example, take regular breaks throughout the day, take some fresh air, go for a walk, make sure you are hydrated, make sure you are sleeping enough in the evening, make sure you look after yourself physically and eating well and all these things. If there are opportunities, find a place where it's actually quiet. Maybe there is a quiet room or a green room where someone can go out somewhere quietly. If you are a speaker or you are working in events, maybe you can find those opportunities. Maybe you can suggest it if you're going to events, whether there are quiet rooms available. Then there are other things like making sure you have these subtitles on. Sometimes you just forget, or you are watching with the person who is deaf and you don't put it on. But if you put the subtitles on, the captions on, it's less focused, less intense listening and concentration, because you can just read at the bottom instead. That makes a big difference. Be aware of where you're sitting. If you're in a restaurant and you're at the end of a table, it's going to be difficult to hear someone else at the other end. If you are in the middle, it's a little bit easier to look at other people, to lip read, to maybe hear them. So be aware of where you're sitting, or obviously if you're hearing, be aware of where they would like to sit, and maybe give them options on where they would like to sit. If you can, be open about it as well. Talk to those who are around you, or talk to the event organizers, your family, your friends, all these social events. Talk to the person who is organizing it and just see if there are options to make things easier as well. What I would love to do is to give you examples of when concentration fatigue has affected me in different scenarios. And I can give you a few now. Like, for example, at school, you have to focus so hard on what the teacher is saying, or at a job, if you are being in a meeting and you have to listen to different people, that's quite tough. In a university, you listen to the lecture and you have to be able to work out what that lecturer is saying. That's also tough. I can go in more details, and I think that's maybe a separate video, but be aware. Just be aware for yourself or for other people that these things happen. It does exist. And if it does exist, and if you feel like you are tired, don't blame yourself. Just do not think that you are at fault. It's just natural thing that just happens, and unfortunately we can't cure it, but we can make it easier for us to deal with it. So please do not just blame yourself for that. But what I do hope is that it has given you a realization that, damn, it's actually me. I actually do get tired during certain moments in the day, at work or at a restaurant or wherever, or at the end of the day, I am so exhausted. Maybe you know why now. Maybe this is part of the reason why you get exhausted. So I hope this video will help you with that. And if you are hearing yourself, I hope you are aware that other people around you, and it might not be even deaf or hard of hearing people, they are going through concentration fatigue for a different reason. Just be aware of that, and just ask if they need anything. Make it easier for them. Give them options of how to make things easier. That's the best thing that you can do. You can't cure it, but you can help. So I hope this video has helped me, and if this is something that applies to you, let me know. Do you suffer concentration fatigue? Do you get exhausted from that? Does it make sense to you? Let me know in the comment below. I'd love to hear your own stories, and to even share your own experiences of when that has happened to you, so that we can learn from each other as well. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that like button while you are commenting down below, and of course I will speak to you again soon. Take care.